And that feels backwards to us. Like, oh, we're doing less work. No, getting to the point where you can do less work is really, really hard work and really valuable. It's sort of like advisors deserve to get paid for doing nothing when nothing's the right thing to do. And it's really important from a regulatory perspective. Being able to tell somebody to do nothing is a lot of work, right? So I think setting that up early, and it's a simple conversation like, hey, you're in our financial detox period, right? Like 24 months, 36 months, 48 months from now, you may find that we don't need to talk as much. And when we do, like high five, right? So anyway, that I think is important. Early on, I would just emphasize this idea that remember that first meeting, like there's a tendency when you start thinking asynchronously, email, there's a tendency, it can quickly devolve into just sort of these really quick transactional kind of conversations. And I think at least early on, we got to remember our job, at least in my mind. Real financial advice is sort of around this idea of aligning people's use of capital with what they say is important to them. That's generally it's generally a deep conversation, a conversation that typically goes better in person. And I would say it's probably easier in person. And the second easiest is via video. And so I just wouldn't forget, if you're going to do video and be remote, get good at it, right? Like get good at trying to create that environment where you can have those sorts of conversations up front. But once you get through that idea, at least in my mind, and again, I reserve the right to be wrong, but once you get through the idea, once you get through the part, like we've really uncovered a sense of why, a statement of financial purpose, that kind of work, that you're doing, whatever level you're doing it to, right? All the way from maybe George Kinder spectrum up to whatever, Dan Sullivan 3 years from now questions. Once you uncover that, then there's a lot of jobs to be done. And once there's jobs to be done, it feels like at least be thinking jobs to be done could be handled. What's the smoothest, quickest way to get this done for the client? If it needs a conversation, and it may for maybe, right? Like, oh, we need to tackle life insurance. Gosh, that's a conversation, right? How do you feel about this? And we're going to kill somebody today. Like, it's really important that we, you know what I mean? Like, which spouse is going to die first? We're going to have all those conversations. I don't need to be crass about that, but that's literally what we do.
Right.
But then when it's time to get the insurance, that's a job to be done. So I just wonder if you can sort of think through, like, jobs to be done. Do I really need to call and say, hey, we need an hour meeting?
When we do need the hour meeting, like, are you virtual? Are you in office? Like, just what do clients want? When you get down to client level.
I don't think clients know, especially, like, I'm just thinking, I don't know about people much older than me, but everybody I hang out with, I don't think there's a sense of like, I need to go to that person's office to see that they physically exist. Like, I remember feeling that way 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, sort of like, I'm used to a bank, like it's a building and it's got bricks and I can go there and my money's there in a drawer somewhere, like I need to see it. I don't get that
Jet
sense.
Clampett style. You just want to go to the bank and see your money every now and then.
Yeah. I don't get the sense that happens anymore. So I don't know that clients know, like, hey, this first meeting is, it's hard to have that discussion if the dryer just beeped because it's finished, or the kids come running in the room, or whatever else. So if you can do that virtually, which you just have to get good at communicating. Hey, for this first meeting, let's set aside a little bit of time. We want to make sure we have the right conversation. And this is really important that you can do that virtually. We know people who do it. So I don't know that clients, again, it's sort of a funny question to me. What do clients want? Because often clients don't know. I think this is true of real financial planning, period. Like, they don't even know that they want it until they experience it.
I feel like they have a preference. Just people have a preference, but they sort it out. I mean, look, like, if the client is someone who really has a strong preference for in-person meetings, like, you're never going to have the conversation with them as a virtual advisor about whether this is going to work. They're not going to call you. Like, they're going to someone up the street who has the physical office that they've been driving by, and they see it, they like it, and they trust it. It's convenient to their house or work. And so they go there. Like, they just go. And I think as you're highlighting, well, from the other end, right? If it's someone who just looks at a meeting in an advisor's office like, oh, the time, the traffic, the schlep, like, can't we just do a quick phone call and figure this out, or an email or a video chat or an asynchronous chat? Like, why do I even need to spend my time? Like, if that's the client's mindset, like, well, if that's how you work, guess what? They're probably finding their way to you, or at least you can begin to market to actually communicate that as a positive.
Hey, it's Carl here. Thought I'd just take a second after you watch that clip with Michael and I to tell you about something that I think is amazing. And I know I'm biased, but we've built this thing over at the Society of Advice. We call it the membership. And I want to be super clear about what it is. I don't know about you, but there are very few times on my calendar that are dedicated times to think about the impact I make on the world, right? To think about the impact I want my work to make, to take a step back or up, right? And think about the business because I'm so busy working in the business. Well, that's what we built the membership for. We meet once a month, 90 minutes. The key here is to dedicate it in your calendar. We already know the dates for months in advance, right? You put it in your calendar, you come, all distractions off, right? Camera on. And what you're gonna do is listen to a private conversation that you could hear nowhere else between me and some super impactful person that I invite. Sometimes you'll know them. They're like world famous authors. Other times you'll have never heard of them, but I promise you they will knock your socks off, right? Like super impactful. So you come for 90 minutes, distractions off, camera on, ready to listen, ready to participate in this amazing chat with all the other advisors that are there. And guess what will happen to you? I'm telling you what will happen because I've seen it happen over and over and over. An insight, right? An idea. And we all know like one idea can change your life. That's what we're after. It's an idea factory over at the Society of Advice membership program. Guess what? I have an idea for you. Try it out. I want to make it easy on you. Click the link and check it out. It's a 7-day free trial of my membership program to see if you like it because I think you will. And let me know. Thanks, my friend.